Okay, so the plan for today is finish. Well, I don't know if we're going to finish it today. Plan for this week is finish up Hilchos Tzedakah, or not Tzedakah, Matnos Aniyim. So the last thing we did was the order of who you give it to. So now he says, Misha halach b'schora, if you're going on a business trip, upasku alav anshe ha'ir shahalach sham tzedakah. So this is something I have to look up how this works. But the people of the city are posek tzedakah upon you, which means that they basically collect a certain amount of tzedakah from you. So then you give it to the poor people of that city. Okay. V'im hayu rabim, but if there are many who are going on to this business, which we'll see in a second what that means, upasko aleim tzedakah, and they it's like basically a tzedakah tax. They put like a tzedakah tax on you. Nosnim, then they give it. Ukshen ba'im, so meaning they give it to the gabayim. Ukshen ba'im, and then when they come back, mevin osa imahen umafarsin ba'aniya iram. They bring it back home with them, and then they give it to the people in their own city. Okay. So let me just read to you just to get context here. So the Radvaz says what the deal is here. He says, wrong halacha. He says, Radvaz, Hacha Isa b'Megila Perik b'nei ha'ir v'ikalameda umatam l'chalek ben yachid v'merubim v'kamehim rabim l'ninzeh. So why do we differentiate between one guy going on business and many people going on business, and how many is considered many? So he says, usually we're to rabim hayu rov anshe osa ha'ir. So rabim means the majority of the people in the city who go to another shahalhu l'ir acheres. Okay, who go to another city. So let's say, I don't know what the actual statistics are. Let's say like you have, certain periods in history where people who lived around New York City, they would all go into New York City for business, or many of them would, So what's going to happen is if the majority of people are going to New York City and then they're just giving, or into Manhattan, and they're giving tzedakah only to the Manhattan people, so then the people in their own cities are not going to have enough money, right? So he says, "Lefisha aniyim mutalim alehem." The aniyim are their responsibility. Lefikach nosnim osa legabai osa ha'ir. Okay, so what do? They give it to the gabayim in Manhattan, shaposkim who like tax them. The enam nosim, and but they don't give it to the poor people of Manhattan. Iran, but when they go back home, nosim osa lefarnas aniye Iran. So then they give the money that was collected for their own city. I think I skipped translating something. Oh yeah, so in other words, like this: you go to Manhattan, you do a bunch of business. You give a certain percentage to the gabayim to hold on to, so that people don't suspect you of saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go give this to the people at home," and then you just keep everything, And that way, that would be bad, because then the people at home are assuming that you're giving it to the people in Manhattan, and the people in Manhattan are assuming you're giving it at home. I guess, yeah, Yosef.
So you can be it's taxing can work by the place you earn the income and not just the place you live. Exactly.
Yeah, this is like when you do your taxes. And they ask you about earning income outside of New York State, and so I don't know what actually happens to that money. I just fill in, but so yeah, it is. So that's the interesting thing, is that for Yechidim, you give to the place where you earn the money, but if there's a critical mass which would deprive the people in your city, then you bring the tzedakah back. This is what it sounds like.
So saying you give it to the gabbai, so it looks like you're giving it to the city.
Just so that they don't suspect you, so that they don't suspect you of separating it out and then not giving it. I think, yeah.
Only at a pshat, or also when you earn the money.
Say again.
Is it only out of pshat, or also within
I think it's only out of pshat that you give it to the gabayim now.
It's not really it's just doing that out of pshat.
Yeah, but that's for the rabim part. For the yachid, I think you actually give it to the gabayim and then they distribute it to the people in the city. I think in the city where you're working. Let me just check and make sure I'm getting this. I did not mean to bookmark, whatever. I think I saw this in a footnote in the Chabad.org thing when I was looking at this earlier. The only thing that shows up is tshuva. why are only a few things showing up? That's a little weird. Refresh.
Right here. Matnos Aniyim.
Oh, it's on this. Oh,
Yeah.
it's spread out. Okay. I didn't even see that. That's funny. Okay. Okay, 7, 14, 13. When a person went on a business trip and the people of the city to which he traveled levy an assessment for charity upon him. So I guess it's like a UO. So it says it was customary in Talmudic times for a community to request that a percentage of the profits from business dealings be given to charity. Oh, so it's not even like a chiyuv, I guess.
Right. So the thing is not.
Yeah, he should give it to the poor of that city. Okay, footnote. Since he is only one person, he cannot argue that his failure to give charity will have a significant effect on the fortunes of the poor in his own city. I don't know where they're getting that from, but that's just what they say. Hold on a second. If there are many such individuals, and then that's when they quote the Ravaz. The Ravaz states that we are speaking about an instance where the majority of the people in a city journey to do business in another city. Hence, when they return home, it is proper that they take the money that they gave to the charity with them, so they will be able to support the poor in their own city. Or otherwise, there will be no one to support them. Alternatively, he states that it applies even if only 3 people from one city go to another city. That's like a small Rabbim, not majority. Since they are a significant group, they are considered an independent entity. Okay, and then an assessment for charity was made upon them. They must make the allocation and give it to the charity collector in that city to show that they respect the ordinances of that city. Okay, so that's a different reason than chashad, I guess. That's from Rashi. And when they go return home, they take the money with them and use it to support the poor of their city. Yeah.
So to be clear,
Yeah, Yosef?
you said like, how are we being medayik and like the request for note slash what's the? I wonder what the source for that is because
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm skeptical to medayik and the request for part of the notes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the source is. That's why I pointed out I'm suspicious. Talk about chashad, but what does Machshavah say? Hayu Rabim mini-shiur achas shalchu l'spor be'ir acheres. Okay, so he just says Rabim, he doesn't define it. Nosnim l'gabe hatzedakah v'hagabayim ena machakim osa la'aniyim. The gabayim do not distribute it to the aniyim. Ela machzirim lahem kishem shavim le'iram. They return it to them when they go back to their cities. Kadei shelo yachashtu behem she'enam nosnim. So that people don't suspect them of not giving, and that's Rashi and Megillah. Okay.
Yeah, so on that point.
Yeah.
It seems very strange. So they don't suspect them if they don't give in the city that they're in, city acheres.
I guess what they don't want, it sounds like what they don't want is people going into the city, like let's say these rich businessmen swoop into the city, make a bunch of money and then just leave, and I get, it's a strange, well, it is weird because they're holding on to their money. What was that?
It's like they do a fake out, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds like it. Like
they're not doing anything. They're just doing
right.
And when do they give the money? They don't have the money when they come in.
Right, they make the money when they come in.
So as they're making the money, they're like putting some of it, giving it to the guy.
So I don't know how long they would stay in the cities either.
So,
you know, should we look at this Rashi and Megillah? Rashi and Megillah. Oh, I know. I was going to show you. I'll show it to you after. Rashi. Oh, I keep on going to Mishnayos. Rashi Megillah. Chaf Zayin. Amud Aleph. Okay, so let's see. Post. Oh, thank you. I was looking for it in the Gemara though. Let's see. Ear. There's gonna be a bunch of ears. Okay. He's new to a ear. That's my ear. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Meir Bnei Ha'ir Shahalchu Le'ir Acheres Upasko Leim Tzedakah Nosnim Ukshen Ba'im Mevim Osam Imahim Umfarsim Ba'anyei Iran. All right. So that's Nosnim. Nosnim osa legabai osa ha'ir. They give them to the gabai of that city. Kadei shelo yichashtum the post game ve'inam nosnim, so that they don't suspect them of being posek and then not giving. Ukshein bayim b'chozrin l'makomim, when they come back to their places. Tovi'im osan min ha'gabayim. They demand it from the gabayim. Mufarsim ba'aniyei iran. It's almost like they're just like what do you call it? Not safety deposit box, but like you're depositing your money with them in a like show of good faith of some sort. I mean, that's what it does sound like, right?
The strange thing is that unless in like the notes in the Rashi, unless he's saying that they're worried that they're not going to give in the city, in the other city.
In the city that's not theirs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking the money and going back to your city doesn't do anything.
No, right, because you could just go back and keep
So,
it.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah, right.
confused by this like whole thing. Like
Well, yeah, what I wonder though is, since this is like, since you've come into contact with like an official, you got to imagine that these people have receipts of some sort, like some sort of receipt system, you know? I wonder if there's like an accountability thing where like, let's say, you know, the people in your city are suspect like the Gabayim in your city suspect that you're not giving tzedakah. Could they check with the Gabayim in the other cities that they want to? I mean, again, we're talking about a case, if we take the Radvaz, that this is a case where there's this, the majority of people did business elsewhere, you would assume that there could be some sort of communication between them. Yeah, Yosef?
Is there any possibility it could also be an authority thing? Isn't by default the authority of taxing business rests in the jurisdiction where it happened, but at the same time, the people, their requirements and tzedakah is owed to the people in their city of living. So by default, like it's like something argument, by default, they should be taxed by where they did business, but by default, the money should go to where they live. So
yeah, it does sound like that's the kind of system that we're trying to set up. Yeah.
What
What am I saying the procedure is? According to Rashi, the Gemara didn't say Rabim, right? But whatever, we'll go with Rabim. Go from the 5 towns to Manhattan. Okay, they make a bunch of business, and then the Gabayim of Manhattan levy an assessment that you owe this much, and they collect the money while the business people are in Manhattan. And then when the business people are ready to go back home, yeah, because when the people are ready to go back home, Tovea Osan Min HaGabayim, they make a claim back from the Gabayim, and then they Mefarsim Ba'aniyah Iran. So the Gabayim are actually taking the money, and holding it.
I thought it was when it said notion of what happened also had near. You meant that near where they come from.
No, because it's Bnei Yer Shalchu L'Ir Acheres. That's the Osa HaYir. Yeah. Oh, just one. Yeah. Yeah, which means v'chozrim l'makoman, when they go back home to their home cities, tovim osam min ha'gabay u'mefarsim b'nei Iran. Yeah, their own city. I just realized also there is a thing where, like, let's say I go to the city to make money. Like, there is a practical thing of like, what if I'm just taking all that money and like putting it back into, I don't know what kind of business they did, but like buying more merchandise and stuff like that. Like, I can see there being a thing of like holding on to the money for that purposes also. Yeah, Yosef.
The Gemara doesn't say anything about Sachara. That's like the wrong idea.
Right, that's true. We didn't read this other verse. Tanya Amihachi Bnei Ha'ir Shahakal Iracheres Upasko Leim Tzedakah V'Nosnin Ukshen Baim Mevin Osa Imam V'Yachi Shahalach L'Iracheres Upasko Alav Tzedakah Tinasin La'ani Osa Ha'ir. So that's the Yachid and Rabim distinction there.
I don't understand this.
Yeah. Let's just see in the English of the Gemara here. In the case of residents of a town who collectively went to another town, and while there, the charity collectors in that town made them pledge a certain sum for charity, they must give the promised sum to the town's charity collector so as to not be suspected of reneging. But when they go home, their money is returned to them. They bring it back with them, and with it, they finance the poor of their own town. The Gemara comments, this is also taught in a brisa. In the case of residents of a town who collectively went to another town, and while there, the local charity collectors made them pledge a certain sum for charity, they must give the promised sum to the town's charity collector. But when they go home, their money is returned to them, and they bring it back with them. But in the case of an individual who went from his hometown to another town, and while there, the local charity collectors made him pledge a certain sum for charity, he should give it to the poor of that town.
I don't understand that this is, when you're happening. And the reason they're not getting enough money here is that they're not inheriting, and then trying to give them the money back.
Right. So I think that's your question, right? Is that no one's, if the question is to ensure that they give, no one unless there's communication, which I'm kind of positing, no one can assure that. Again, I am saying that there is some benefit of like holding on to their money so that they don't put it back into the business, but I'm not seeing that anywhere here.
Wouldn't that interfere with
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's another question also is like usually tzedakah we entrust it to you to give tzedakah unless you refuse to give, and then the base team becomes involved. Part of this also is because I don't really know what role the gabbais play yet, because we haven't gone to the gabbai chapter. Yeah, let's finish reading the halacha though. V'im yesham chaver ir, if there is a city friend. What is a city friend? Chaver ir is Talmid Chachamim, mechachmei ha'ir, right? So a city, like a chacham of the city. V'hagabayim nostim oso lechaver ir, and the gabayim give it to the chacham of that city. Oh, we didn't read this. Yitnu la'osa lechaver ir, they give it to the chaver ir, v'hu mechalka k'mo she'yira elo, and he distributes it the way that he sees fit. That's even stranger, right? Because then he's not giving it back to them, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, he says, "Agabayim nosim also lechaver ir makbili v'hu mechalik es tzedakah lefi hakaraso es matzav toshavei ha'ir." Yeah, I don't get what the system is. Yeah,
actually, it's not sort of making sense. Where so Meikar, then you're taxed for like where you do business.
Yeah.
But or at least if you go to Rabaz and say that when large group goes to the city, not only is a large group of that city, then sure Meikar then. That works to just practically at least into tons of problems. So practically you give it back because you're effectively taking all the money from that city.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's like a Talmid Chacham, he can split it more fairly. Like, isn't it a case where say it's one you have rich suburb and poor city?
Yeah.
So it could be like
right.
In that case, you want a lot of the rich suburb money going to the poor city.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm really not understanding this. So let's do this. Let's plan to tomorrow go on to the next halacha, and then if we have time, just tomorrow, we'll see in the Aruch HaShulchan. But I want to move on from this to Chanukah stuff next week. Okay? Yeah. All righty. Let's stop here. Yep.